So here's a true story. There used to be a commercial, Axe body spray, where the guy would spray the body spray and women would come to him, kiss him and hug him. He became a chick magnet. So the first day of school, I had bought the boys some Axe spray. My wife had told me, she said, they don't need that, they're too young. I said, well, I wanted to introduce them early to colognes and sprays, but I was going to control it and spray it for him. He comes home, we ask him, so how was kindergarten? How was your first day of school? My son looks troubled and he looks puzzled. We're like, what happened? Somebody pick on you? He runs and he says, Daddy, something's not right. The cologne you bought me, I think it's broken. He said, because when I went to school, none of the girls hugged me, kissed me, or even said anything to me. I looked at him. I said, oh, no, baby, it's a commercial. It's not real. That's not how it works. His mother hugs him and holds him. And as she's holding him, she looks me in the eye and she mums the words, I told you, dumbass. Welcome to another episode of Ask a Black Dad. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that notification so that you're made aware of every time the episode drops. Please be sure to share this with your family, with your friends, and discuss the questions that we answer here with them. Let's get the conversation started. So this question comes from our YouTube channel, and this young man wrote, Dear Black Dad, what approach should you as a single father have with your child whose mother is no longer in the picture? That's a very good question, and it's a very tough question to answer. I want to start with this though, which is the easiest part. Every approach you have with a child should be based on love. That's the foundation, that's your bottom ground that you start building from. It has to be love. It can't be out of spite for the mother who's not there for whatever reason. You don't talk about the mother who's not there for whatever reason in a negative way. And you start with love. You teach that child love. Then find some support. A support from a person or a group. And when I say support, I want you to find a father figure that you look at and you say, wow, this person, whether it's a TV character or maybe somebody in real life. For me, I remember I watched Boys in the Hood when my son was about to be born. And Furious Styles was it for me. And later on, Dr. Huxtable from The Cosby Show was mine. When I was growing up, I loved Andy Griffith from Andy Griffith Mayberry RFD. I loved the way they were fathers, how they fathered and loved their kids. That stuck with me, and that's the image of a father I wanted to be and portray to my kids. And I had to learn to be that. I had to find out individuals, whether they be black, white, Asian, or Hispanic, that were father figures that were full of love and compassion. There are some guys who are fathers, but they do it in a negative way. They bring drugs and abuse. You don't want that around your child. So I never looked at any of them and said, I want to be a father like them. Next, you're gonna have to make sacrifices. I hate to say it. When you're a single father or a single mother, you have to make sacrifices. You can't be daddy need a life or mama need a life too. No. You have to sacrifice. That means you have to maybe work 2 jobs. Maybe that means you have to work overtime. Maybe that means you can't have a brand new car. Maybe you get into a neighborhood that has a better school system when you're looking for an apartment or a house. Instead of saying, I want to save money so I have money to spend. Maybe that's what you need to do. Another thing you need to do is watch the visitation and who's around your children. You don't bring poison into your house. You don't bring negativity around your children. I use the example of if your child said they were thirsty and they wanted some lemonade, you wouldn't pour a bottle of antifreeze, which looks like lemonade, and leave it on a table in a glass. So you have to make sure that there is no poison brought around your kids. Someone who's going to undercut everything you're doing. Someone who's going to teach them negatively how to act. Someone who's going to maybe abuse them, maybe physically or mentally. Another thing is, don't go rushing in looking for love from someone else who's not willing to accept your child and you at the same time. If this person loves you, but they really could care less about your child, that's not a person for you. Because remember, you have to make sacrifices. Another thing I say, your child's education starts with you. That's your responsibility. It starts with you. It's not the teacher's sole responsibility to teach your child. You have to start it. The teacher is there as a guide to guide that child on through education, but without you leading that way, it doesn't work. Read to that child early and often. If you say, well, I don't know where I can get these resources, there's public libraries. Find time to take your child to the public libraries. They have little classes where they read to children. Let your child read to you. Let your child see you read. Don't sit up there and say, I just put them in front of a TV. If you put them in front of a TV show like Sesame Street, sit there with them, do the lessons with them. Don't have them sit there just watching the colors and the movement and not really getting the education that it's offering. It does no good. Another thing that I say is give your child what they need and not always what they want. Your child may need a new pair of shoes. That doesn't mean your child should get a pair of Jordans because they want it. And when you discipline your child, make sure that it's done in a way that love is always present. But be fair and be firm. Me and my wife had a case where we were talking to a child and the parent had wanted us to talk to him. We were talking to him and the child had acted up. We were amazed to see that the child still had access to TV, gaming systems. And how is that possible if the child is acting up? His time should have been more constructed to improving what he had did wrong and learning from that lesson. So remember that. You have to be that role model you expect your child to grow up to be. That doesn't mean he's going to be like you, but it definitely says he's going to look at you and he's going to say, well, if dad or mom did it, I'm going to do it too. The bottom line is education, teach them respect, teach them responsibility and accountability, and start it all off with love. Always with love. We always end with a quote of the day. And our quote of the day comes from L.R. Nost. And she wrote, "It's not our job to toughen our children up to face a cruel and heartless world. It's our job to raise children who will make the world a little less cruel and heartless." You can't change the world overnight by constantly putting in a bunch of hardened soldiers. But when you put in people who are willing to talk, discuss, and come together and find common ground, we change the world together. And we change it for a better. Remember, I'll see you in 2 weeks, and I love you.